This week's guest on Political Capital is a fresh face appointed at the end of a 2.5-year-long finance ministry shuffle in South Africa. It began back in December 2015. Then President Jacob Zuma didn't agree with Finance Minister Nhlanhla Nene and reshuffled him. The markets tumbled as rookie Des van Rooyen stepped in. 4 days later, GORDHAN was brought back to ease the markets. He persevered and survived trumped-up fraud charges. The rand went up, the markets firmed, then GORDHAN was reshuffled in March 2017. In came the young Malusi Gigaba, who floundered along for less than a year. Before Cyril Ramaphosa brought Nene back, Nene's deputy is the equally young and capable Mondli Gungubele, who joins us now.
I was not aware until I interfaced with people. Doesn't matter which airport I landed. I was pleasantly shocked to discover that we were making such a lot of impact on people. Listen, we were a bunch of people. Some of us will join Parliament in 2016, October. Already, let me make this confession. We are annoyed by so many things we saw happening. Since some of the members of Parliament agreeing with what is wrong, trying to align with, believing that they are aligning with their parties. If party authorities would have said, this is the view. And because I am coming from the ANC, ANC stance on corruption is very clear, on credibility of government, on democracy. So some of us got pissed off. And some of our guys were misrepresenting our organization.
I like that. Pissed off. It's an appropriate word, isn't it? Because really when it seemed like the executive was not accountable to anyone, that they were taking these decisions. And these were ANC members who were going against what the ANC demands.
I think Karabo were rattled the comfort zone, which had already started settling, where there was collaboration about confusion, collaboration about misdirection. So we had, a number of us had to be brave, because we had to answer a question: what do we have to lose? And we had to make up a decision: what are we prepared to lose? We said, there's one thing we're not prepared to lose. It's our names, and it's the name of this country. Let me say, at the risk of being of sounding racial, there's a narrative in the world that black people just have got no scruples. They've got no standard, they've got no value system, they've got no rules. And guys in the colonial time would have come here, we met those baboons, those are not normal people.
The law of the jungle.
Send the church to normalize them, humanize them. A number of times we tend to do things that fit to that narrative. To me, whenever I'm deployed, even when I was a mayor in Ekhuruleni, even when I was an MEC for sports, arts and culture, MEC for health, my attitude has always been, I want to redeem the reputation of the leadership of African people.
You sound like a person who's always worked with people. How much of the Mondli Gungubele that we see today is still made by that same person who wanted to work and serve people?
Just want to add another little one. I'm block right now.
I was coming to that in the second part.
Listen, there's a genetic disposition and in the historical environment, the combination of those actually, I think, made me. Let me say this to you, Karabo. We were brought up by a single woman, my mother, who couldn't read and write. But who, after giving birth to us, my father had fun. A chap who was educated but had fun, opted to have fun.
Don't they always? But
you won't believe that when I reconnected that guy, I loved him to bits. I don't begrudge. I just love the chap because in his character, I saw myself, but the difference of sense of responsibility, that's what actually mattered. Now, My mother taught us this. I keep on telling people this. Because we're going through difficulties. She said, in Xhosa, but I'll put it in English. She says,
I put it in Xhosa first.
She says, yabona abantwana bami, nayiphina ingxaki ozifumana kuyo. Nayiphina. Umbuzo wokuqala uma ubuza, ndizikhupha njani kule ngxaki? Uthi umuntu oqala uma kaba nexanduva lalento yokuyilungisa nguwe, ngoba ubomi bakho luxanduva lakho.
Translate for my English
My mother
speaking
would have
audience.
said to us, as we were going through the difficulty, as she was counseling us, she would say to us, every time you find yourself in a problem, it's your problem. Says the question you must ask, says the first question, before any other question that you must ask, what do I do to get out of this problem? Because my mother taught us that our lives are our responsibility. I said your life, it's your responsibility. It doesn't matter somebody throws you in a marsh and you says, it's Karabo. My mother says, you can't be comfortable because you didn't throw yourself there. Because Karabo who threw you there is no longer there. You are the one who's going to rot and smell there.
You're still
and
there.
You won't make sense of people who say, no, it's Karabo. My mother says, first, how do I get myself out of the marsh? So, what made us to survive? Not to suffer worse depressions of hating people. My mother instilled in us that even if you're responsible for my problems, once it's with me to resolve it, it's my responsibility. And my mother said, if you want to reduce enemy, that is the personality of Masator. And that kept us afloat. All my siblings now have passed on. I'm the only one remaining. We were all like that. We're rebellious, independent, actually prepared to suffer as a consequences of insisting in what we believe in.
That's selflessness. You were the chairperson of the African National Congress in Vosloorus. You grew up within the structures. Did you feel, just how close were we to like the ANC possibly going down a wrong path before this election? Because I feel like it put those who wanted to serve on one side and those who were serving other things on the other. For me, as a journalist who covered the conference, I felt that that was the closest that I thought that this new democracy could disappear, like it could fizzle away, all the gains. Did you feel like that?
Let me tell you, it was scary. People don't know, when you're in the ANC, people never know the mental torture and number of comrades who were concerned with the situation we're going through. But as a party member, when you go in public, it's my organization. Nothing better than this. And let me tell you, some of us had an opportunity to be guided by the forebears of this movement. I cannot believe that I still want to be convinced that there's a movement in South Africa which has ever been led by such wise people. Yolutuli, Mandela, Tambo, Fisher, Naidu, Bears Nodie, and all those guys. If you go through their literature, one young girl said to me, the literature of the ANC is so rich, it will take another 100 years to surpass it. But unfortunately, as I speak to you, it's in the wrong hands. So the point I'm coming to is that we were at a brink.
How scary was that for you?
Some people had to break a leg.
How scary was that for you? Were you worried?
Scary. Let me tell you why I was worried. Sorry to the other parties. I looked at other parties and look at their character, their history. None of them at that point was even near qualified to be an alternative. And I was saying, if this movement collapses, there's going to be a crisis in this country.
This country could collapse.
Let me tell you what one old man said in Cape Town to my friend called Sisanda Mkhaled. She's in ESCO. Her father said, my dear daughter, if ANC loses election in South Africa, it will be a betrayal of the century. And then the daughter asked, what's wrong? Because it will be a democratic process, the winner, and so on. Her father said, in terms of character and what ANC represents, the aspirations of the majority of South Africans are in this organization. No organization at the moment has that character.
Freedom Charter.
If this organization collapses, there could be mental derangement, disorientation of society. And this old man said, it's not up to the ANC whether they lose election or not. Unfortunately, to stay in power, you must win the hearts and minds of people. The fact that we represent this history doesn't entitle us to
the future. Wow.
Now, to keep this history, how we conduct ourselves towards people. Do we represent a united South Africa? Do we represent a South Africa that is consistent with the needs of the people? Because some of the extremist parties now, I was saying to one of the youngsters who represent an extreme organization, which has got a lot of brilliant young people in it.
You can say the EFF. I'll say it for you.
I said to this youngster, you're so brilliant, most of you. You've gone to school, but you're missing a critical mark of an organization that qualifies to lead this country. You must never separate the importance of the destination and the need to meet the current needs. Because the destination is what African National Congress defined. A non-racial, united South Africa. South Africa belongs to all who live with blacks and whites. I said, if people doubt your stance on that, you can fit so many currently, they will vote for a different party. Because that future to them is very critical. So don't separate the two. So all I'm saying is that it is only this organization as we speak. But unfortunately, this vision is only safe if leaders who lead this organization are humble. They know that the sustainable power is a servant power. I'm not sure if you got that. The sustainable power is a servant power, is a humble power, is a servant power, is a power of humility.
I'm going to switch tact here and speak to you in both your roles. I guess I'm going to track back to Ekhuruleni as the former mayor of the city. Not many people know that when you left Ekhuruleni Metropolitan, it was the best credit rated city in this country. Not many people, celebrate the number of clean audits under your administration. South Africa is in a junk status right now, something that faces your current office squarely. How are you going to bring back that enthusiasm that we saw in Ekhuruleni? And are you going to get us a better credit rating score?
Can I whisper to you? When the president told me they are appointing me to be a deputy of finance, I was shocked.
Why?
I didn't expect that. I never.
Is it the BCom law?
I never imagined myself. No, I'm wrong for not imagining that. But I did it. And they said, what? When
did you find out?
No, I was called on was it
Sunday,
Wednesday
Monday?
Monday night.
Oh.
I said, what? And I said, oh, sorry, President. It's an opportunity to serve. And he said to me, the work you did in Ekhuruleni has influenced us. We want you to come here what we did in Ekhuruleni is not exclusive. There's a book I'm carrying now, The Power of Governance. That book is written by Ruel Khoza, Kabashe, the guys who led ESCOM to be amongst the top 5 government entities in the world. And what I like is black guys who took ESCOM to that level.
Who also speak out.
Who took ESCOM to that level. You see, the critical thing when you are in charge of government, or any institution for that matter, for people to unleash their energy, whether it's entrepreneurs, individuals, trust must be the heart of that environment.
The number of unemployed youth in this country is on the rise. And it can only go so much until this thing becomes a ticking time bomb.
When you are not working, it's not just one thing that suffers, that you don't have money in your pocket. It's also the culture of people you are developing. Actually, the biggest threat here is not just hungry people, it's the culture of non-working nation that you are developing. And that culture, when you have to deal with going forward, it's a very dangerous culture. You go to these northwestern countries, you go to Asia and so on. The economies of those countries are actually leveraging on the energies of the individuals of those countries, because there's work ethic in those countries. And it's not just the work ethic of government that takes the country forward. It's the work ethic of the entire nation. But for a nation to have a work ethic, the conditions must be such that everyone loves work. Now the problem now, we've got hundreds of thousands of young people who are growing without working.
Who don't even know the culture of working.
The challenge is that you are developing a different nation. So, in other words, we have our work cut out. We don't have time to pussyfoot. The sooner we install the confidence in the economy of South Africa, the better. And you would not have chosen a better minister than the one I am actually deputizing.
Why? I think we could have, but I want you to tell me why we couldn't have.
He's got a track record. He's an amazing chap. He combines, he's got a rare combination. He's humble, he's clear, he's firm. To combine those things, it's not normal. Humble, firm, clear. So
you and this chap that you work with, Mr. Nhlanhla Nene, you gather together, the president lets you know that you're a couple from now on, and he believes that you guys can be the engine room of his economy. What's on your to-do list?
We are, I don't want to get excited now, Karabo. We are going through the department, we're traversing, we're getting briefs. In few weeks, in few days' time, we will tell you what we think is the direction under his leadership. But the issues we're interacting with are very exciting. For instance, the immediate thing now is to reduce the 50 billion deficit, so that we are a country that is able to deal with these liabilities. Because no one will invest in us when they doubt our ability to deal with our liabilities.
You spoke earlier, you spoke of trust, that when you have the people's trust, they don't doubt your decisions. Treasury had a trust deficit, largely because of the former president and how insistent he was on getting rid of Mr. Pravin Gordhan and the dangers at which it put this country. It was at all costs, it seemed at one stage, that he's going to get rid of this man, and therefore he, you know, the trust that we had in Treasury went down. We saw the resignation of Michael Sachs, who was a Treasury fellow for years.
With an impeccable record.
How are you going to bring back my trust in Treasury following the deficit we've seen?
Listen, the immediate bringing in of Nhlanhla on its own sends a good intention by our president. You remember our president speaks of the new law. Already he has demonstrated that in ESCOM. the nature of the transitional cabinet he has put together, the kind of people he is deploying, his commitment to skills, irrespective of who you are. I can tell you, it's what we say now, but give us a chance, look at what we are going to do, look at the results, and then find the relationship between what we are saying now and what we are going to do and the outcomes. Let's be tested at that.
I'm going to pin it all on you then. What should I look out for in the next 2 weeks from you and Mr. Nene? But before you answer that question, perhaps the most pressing of all questions. Eskom keeps going back to lenders. Eskom keeps its begging bowl, it's out there permanently. Just got a bridge loan now from 7 different banks. That shows the difficulty at which it is for Eskom to raise monies, that they raised such little money from 7 different banks. What is the lasting solution for Eskom? How do we get it recapitalized, and how do we make sure then that that money stays in Eskom and doesn't fly as it did in the past?
You know there's an inquiry. One of the objectives of that inquiry is to go into the governance systems that allowed the whole shocking behavior in Eskom to occur. To have more than 200 million going to trillion without any job,
any contract,
without any contract,
any accountability,
undisputed, can go on. To have repurposing of the coal mines and the undermining contracts with coal mines that have been serving Eskom with credibility.
i.e. Exaro.
To give contracts to companies that are supporting Gupta. And look, what Gupta touched collapses. What Gupta touches collapses. Look what optimum is, where Gupta means now, and so on. Those guys, look at what is being investigated now in Northwest, where there's an allegation of not less than 100 million put into an account of Guptas. I don't know what kind of people these Guptas are, but the point is, where I'm sitting, it's not the Guptas that is a problem. It's the kind of leadership that is a problem.
Your own comrades.
Because the absence of Gupta may produce a homegrown brewed Gupta. Because as long as your systems, it's a combination of character of leadership and the systems. And I think what the president is doing now is actually correcting the deficit of the character that was not there.
Deputy Minister, those are your comrades, the people who cleared the way for these monies to fly out of Eskom, the people who gave the Guptas the 100 million in the Northwest. These are your comrades. There's only one party in charge, and that is your party. What does it say about members of your party?
To me, to be honest with you, Karabo, my comrade is the one who executes the principles of the movement that ensures that ANC is reputable, that ANC is the hope of the people.
Mr. Moyane is not inspiring confidence with his South African public. Mr. Moyane does not even inspire accountability with his South African public. You have to work with Mr. Moyane.
Listen, I said to you, Karabo, there are things we came to the department knowing. There are things we didn't know until we'll know them that were in the department. With the minister, we are working through the department. At the right time, pronouncements about certain directions will be taken. I don't want to deal with individual names at the moment, but I can tell you, in that department, those who are not consistent with the value system of that department, but that department was put together by great men and women.
And it's been built over time.
They gave it a value system. I can assure you, once we realize there's a disconnect between what you stand for and what your conduct represents and what that department stands for, between you and the department, one has to go.
It's going to be 2 guys who wear grey suits in treasury, who have no personality on the outside. What kind of treasury should I expect?
Listen, I'm a rural boy.
Are you even on Instagram?
That's the first thing. The second thing is that I have realized that I need to reorganize my presentability. Let me tell you why. By the way, Karabo, you don't know I did theology.
No, I didn't know that. I knew law.
I did theology. I left it somewhere. There was a course in theology called homiletics.
Okay.
That subject, they train you how to organize yourself for the audience you're going to talk to, so that your message is not lost. And I've been advised very soon that grey suit, navy suit, black suit. And I can tell you, because what counts to me, it's not me, it's the message. If I have to wear a navy suit, a grey suit, a black suit, to protect the message of the new dawn, the message of Tumamina, I will buy those suits. That's my undertaking.